Playing solo in ESO is a widely popular occurrence in the world of Tamriel. I think this is due to the nature that a lot of players have played at least one Elder Scrolls game in their lifetime, and those were solo experiences. So it only feels natural for players coming in to want to play this way. Also, playing solo makes you sometimes feel like you are invincible or you are a beast for clearing content by yourself. So today in this guide, I want to help everyone out and give you 5 tips for soloing the Elder Scrolls Online in 2022. Real quick, I just want to give a massive shout out to our patrons. Thank you so much for your support. If you'd like to become a patron, check out the link below in the description. And you can always watch me play live on twitch.tv/brahwegotthis. I will not be streaming though, however, at the end of the December month and into January, the first week, because of the holidays. But I will be back at full force in the new year. Go on over to the Twitch channel if you want to watch me play live, and you can join our Discord, and you can stop by our website at brahwegotthis.com. All that is in the description. Hey, if you're new to the channel though, my name is Adam, and I have been covering ESO for about 2 years now as a content creator, plus the 3 to 4 years before that of me just playing the game solo. In this time, I've picked up some tips that I think players could utilize when deciding to take this game on by themselves. So let's begin. The first tip that I have for you is picking a class that you understand and that you have fun with. The awesome thing about ESO is that every class in this game can be used to solo. However, there are easier classes to use like the Templar or the Sorcerer versus harder classes to use for solo like Dragon Knight. Again, this is my opinion, but the bottom line is every class has a solo potential. But it comes down to how you utilize them and if you understand them and have fun. If you're just playing the class that is the best on paper, you may not actually have fun with it, which makes you not want to solo with it or be invested in it. You need to understand that some classes have unique features that if you don't pay attention to can cost you efficiency with them. The Dragon Knight, for example, has a lot of high costing abilities and shields. If you're using those shields too much or too often, you could drain your resources in a hard, long fight that could end up making your character die. If you are playing Necromancer solo and you don't understand the corpse mechanic, that could prove to hurt you in the long run. The corpse mechanic, by the way, is something that the Necromancer uses to heal, get ultimate back, and use other abilities. The more you understand that, the more successful you can be with that class. Understanding that the Templar and the Sorcerer has an easier learning curve for soloing may help you enjoy using that class more. The Templar has one of the most broken solo skills in the game, Puncturing Sweeps, which you can get at level 1 essentially, that heals you and does AoE damage. But if you want more of a challenge, then definitely looking at Necromancer would be your best bet. But understanding what you're doing with the class is essential. The second tip I have is having the right balance of skills on your bar. This sort of goes back to the Dragon Knight example I gave you using too much shields, so much that it drains your resources. Well, it's also important to not overload your bar with one type of skill. For example, some builds for group play will probably have different skills on the bar than a solo build because you will have a healer and a tank feeding you heals or resources or buffs that you don't normally have. So when picking skills for your bar, remember these things. You need AoE damage for added mob clear. You need some sort of self-healing or AoE healing for yourself. A shield would also be nice if you have it as well. So shields that you can look for are like the Sork shield, the Templar one, which is Blazing Shield, the Dragon Knight one, which could be Igneous Shield or Spiked Armor. You could also go for the Bone Surge skill in the Undaunted line as well. This is another great skill that every class can have access to. And so these are just examples of shields, right? Necromancer one as well is like beckoning armor. So just look for those skills when you're trying to find a shield in your class. You also need single target abilities for bosses or a spammable skill that you could use on bosses. So some of those examples could be Force Pulse for Magicka characters, which is right here. For stamina characters, example of that could be the Whirlwind skill in dual wield, or if you're doing two-hand, you could do Stampede, something of that nature. But each class also has spammable skills as well. You could use like Burning Embers for Dragon Knight as a spammable skill if you would like to. You don't have to though, but you want to look for those spammable skills. Also, if you can, it'd be nice to have an Execute. An Execute could be like Killer's Blade from the Nightblade class. It could also be Radiant Oppression from the Templar class. That could also be another execute. And then another nice thing to maybe have if you need it is a movement buff skill. So you could have the Alliance skill here in Assault Charging Maneuver if you would like to. The Warden also has the Falcon Swiftness skill, but those aren't necessarily needed all the time, but it's just nice to have in certain situations. Having the right balance though is everything, because if you need to heal, you need to have something for on your bar for that. If you need a shield or a buff for a boss, it would be nice to be able to have that. If you had all the damaging skills on your bar, but you had none of the other auxiliary or utility skills, it may be difficult to solo. This leads me to the third tip, and that is finding skills that do more than one thing. This will help you check off some of those things on your list when forming your skill bar. Some great examples of these skills are Repentance from the Templar, which is something that gives you a flat magicka health and stamina recovery bonus for just having it on your bar, plus it heals you and gives you stamina back. Puncturing Sweeps from the Templar is also another great skill because it does damage in an AoE fashion and it also heals you. And Crit Surge from the Sorcerer skill, which gives you increased critical and also heals you when you crit. These are great options for skills that give you multiple effects for just one thing. You see, these skills are fulfilling multiple roles with just either one click of the skill or just having them on your bar. So looking for skills like this is crucial. The fourth tip is finding item sets that help you solo. If you want to solo this game, there are going to be specific builds for solo and specific builds for group play. And some of those sets will be different that you use in them. A group build may tell you to run Medusa and Mother Sorrow or Kenra's for the highest output of damage. While those may be great sets for group play, they may not be great in solo or the best in solo. A few sets that you can look for soloing are things that are, again, going to do multiple things for you, okay? So if we go to our item sets, an item set for magicka that would be great if you're like erring on the side of magicka DPS would be False Gods. False Gods is going to give you increased damage to monsters in dungeons, trial, and arenas. It's also going to reduce the cost of your magicka abilities, and when an enemy that you damage dies, you restore magicka and you get a speed boost. This is fantastic for soloing. The stamina alternate to that is Ophidian. Ophidian is in Craglorn Trials. So Vicious Serpent, this is the stamina variant of that. Another one that you can look at is Briarheart. Briarheart's in Hrothgar, and this is a stamina one, or it technically could be used for magicka now with the hybrid stats. When you activate a critical strike, you're going to heal, which is really nice. Another set you could also look out for that you could pair with this is Winner's Respite, which is a healing set that you might need for a hybrid. I'm not saying that you can't use Mother Sorrow or Medusa or Kenra's or anything like that, right? But you need to also realize that you need to have other sets that do other things than just give you flat offensive bonuses if you're going to solo. And then obviously the last set that you could use is a one-piece set, and that is the Ring of the Pale Order or the Ring of the OP Order. This mythic item is just so good for soloing. It makes everything easy mode. The last tip that I want to give you for soloing, that is companions. Okay, companions are your best friend as a solo player. They're in the game for this very reason for the most part. You can have either Miri or Bastion follow you around, and you can have up to 5 skills on them and an ultimate. These can also have specific companion armor sets that give you certain bonuses and all that good stuff. There have also been creators and players that have had Bastion tank vet DLC dungeons to my knowledge, so it is possible to do it. But utilize these companions because once you have them leveled up, they can be very helpful for clearing content as a solo player. So now that you have these 5 tips, if you have any questions, make sure to leave me a comment below. It is kind of impossible to give every tip for soloing, but I think that these 5 tips are some crucial ones that you should know when you solo in ESO. And I think these were broad enough to really hit a lot of different areas of the game. But I hope this helps you out this year in ESO. Again, A lot of players like to solo. They come from Skyrim, they come from Morrowind, they come from Oblivion, and I think that ESO is definitely a soloable game. So again, if you did like this, make sure to like, subscribe, heavy attack that bell icon to stay up to date on all the content in the channel. And again, make sure to leave a comment below letting me know if you have any other tips for solo players. But until next time, y'all, just remember to have faith, be great, and I'll see you on ESO.